Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Bakit ako maliit? Pwede pa ba akong tumangkad?
Kapag tinitignan mo ang sarili sa salamin simula ulo hanggang paa, napapansin mo bang hindi ka ganoon katangkad kumpara sa iba? Napapansin mo bang ikaw ay naiiba? Ang top 3 global average heights ng mga babae ay ang mga sumusunod: Latvia, the Netherlands, at ang pinakauli ay ang Guatemala, ang Pilipinas at ang Bangladesh. Ang Pilipinas ay pangalawa sa pinakamaliit. But please don't give up! Mayroon pa din tayong katulad na heights sa ibang bansa sa Westerners. Katulad ng Latvia, ang pagkakaroon ng matangkad na height ay pinapangarap ng karamihan sa atin. Na-discover ng German scientists ang 2 kinds of natural substances that promote the secretion of growth hormone HGH. Ang unang uri nito ay ang small molecules of phospholipid A-glycerol, isang uri ng wheat glutamine peptide na confirm na ang AGPC ay kayang isecrete ang HGH hanggang 44 times. Wheat oligopeptide GP naman ay kayang isecrete ang HGH nearly 5 times. Paris Kidd, doktor ng medisina, ay pinapoint out na ang AGPC ay kayang i-increase ang GHRH. GHRH ay kayang i-increase ang secretion ng HGH. Kahit na sa mga matatanda, ang secretion ng HGH ay kayang mag-increase ng hanggang 3 times. Ang wheat oligopeptide ay nagko-consist ng 18 kinds of 2 to 10 amino acids. Kaya nito i-increase ang content ng serotonin at muscle choline na papabilis ang muscle growth at ang pagbaburn ng fats. Ang kaimportante ay ang GP na kayang mag-promote ng secretion ng growth hormone. Ang pinakabagong formula ng Bloxy, dinadagdagan ang AGPC at GP, ang dalawang height enhancement active components na tumutulong para sirain ang limitation ng growth at i-improve ang kakulangan ng HGH secretion sa maiksing panahon.
Ang pagiging matangkad ng isang tao ay maraming pakinabang. Halimbawa, may kakayahan kang maging superior sa lahat. Madali ka ding maging leader sa isang grupo. Mabilis makakuha ng trabaho dahil sa high requirements o kaya high social status, at dagdag pa sa pagkakaroon ng appeal ang pagkakaroon ng mahabang buhok. Isa pa sa advantage ng pagiging matangkad ay bagay sa iyo lahat ng uri ng damit. Naiinggit ang iba sa mga taong kaya magsuot ng maiiksing shorts. Advantage din ito na kapag nakaupo ka sa mataas na upuan, abot mo pa din ang flat surface ng sahig. Pagsakay din sa bicycle ay wala din problema kahit gaano pa ito kataas. Ang mga matatangkad na lalaki ay kaya makakuha din na matatangkad na babae at kadalasan din itong naipapartner sa mga kasal.
Tama yun! 78% na ng mga employers ang naniniwala na ang matatangkad na salesperson ay mas convincing at madaling maka-impress ng mga customers nila. Ang German government research on national medical examinations taxation ay pinakita na for every inch na nadagdag sa height ng taon ay mas maraming business opportunity at income ang umi-increase ng 9 to 15%. In 30s, ang may same na age ay umaabot ng 6.5% o higit pa, at sa babae naman ay umaabot ng 10%. Ayon sa pag-aaral ng Princeton University, ang mga lalaki na may height na 177 cm at ang mga babae na may height na 162 cm ay may mas mataas na happiness index kaysa sa pagkakaroon ng anxiety at depression. Ang newest formula ng Bloxy ay isang HGH promoter na tamang-tama sa lahat. It contains the latest alpha GPC as well as glutamine peptide. Ang pag-increase ng growth hormone ay nagre-reduce din ang pagbuo ng fats, kaya natural lang na tumatangkad at pumapayat ng kaunti. Experts explained na ang dahilan kung bakit ang alpha GPC ay nagre-reduce ng adipose tissue ay dahil pinopromote nito ang content ng serotonin at muscle choline sa katawan na kalaunan ay magiging body fat. Habang nagdi-decrease ang body fat from 0.72 kg to 2.78 kg, ang maximum body weight na kayang i-reduce ay 8.7%. Kaya ang pagtangkad at pagbayat ay ang pangunahing epekto ng alpha GPC at GP. Kasama ang proper diet, tulog at exercise ay may magandang epekto sa epiphyseal cartilage cells, growth hormone stimulation, continuous rapid growth na patuloy na magbibigay ng growth sa leg bone, and you can continually grow taller centimeter by centimeter.
Kahit ilang taon na ang nakalipas, naaalala ko pa rin ang aking anak. Yung pambubuli ng ibang bata sa kanya. Sa aking kapatid na may pareho kaming sitwasyon sa anak niya, ibinahagi ko ang tungkol sa Gloxy. bumili naman siya nito. At sa ngayon, tumangkad ang kanyang anak at achieve ang kanyang dream height nila.
Oo nga. Buti na lang, nariyan ang ate ko na nag-share ng epekto ng Gloxy sa anak niya. Na talaga namang tumangkad. Dahil dito, naisipan ko rin gumamit ng Gloxy para sa anak ko at kitang-kitang epekto nito. Kaya lang, back in the days na hindi mo pa na-share sa akin ang paggamit ng Gloxy, lagi kong iniisip, di naman kailangan maging matangkad o hindi naman kailangan maging mataas ang score niya sa exam niya at iba pang activities ng school. But one time, naisip kong bisitahin siya sa school niya at nakita kong tinutukso siya ng classmates niya. At hindi siya confident na kasama ang classmate niya. Masakit makita ang anak ko na ganun. Kaya, pinasubo ko sa kanya ang paggamit ng Gloxy. Hindi ko inaasahan na tumangkad siya ng 8 centimeters sa isang taon. Kaya, pinagpatuloy ko ang paggamit ng Gloxy Health Drink. Halika, anak!
Diba? Kita?
Diba? Buong dagdag sa height niya ay 15 centimeters. Mula sa 160 centimeters na naging 175 centimeters na. Ang galing nga eh. Di lang tumangkad ang anak ko, naging malakas pa ang kanyang katawan. Maraming salamat sa Gloxy.
Gana ko nakatangkad ngayon. Tingnan ko nga, tayo ka.
Tita, dati ganyan lang ako kaliit. Ngayon, malaki na ako.
Ang laki ng tinangkad mo, ha?
Kaya nga, tita.
Makakasali ka na sa basketball.
Pwede na, tita.
Pangarap ko simula nung maliit pa lang ako ay maging isang stewardess. Makapunta sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. Ngunit simula nung maliit ako, ay hindi talaga ako matangkad. Nung high school ako, ay 150 centimeters lang yung height ko. Noon pa, hinahangaan ko yung iba kong mga kaklase. At madalas akong humanap ng paraan upang maging matangkad. Pero yung height ko parang na-frozen. Yung tipong hindi man lang tumangkad kahit 1 centimeter. Nung nag-college ako, bumili si mama ng Gloxy Health Drink. Nag-surf ako sa internet. Nakita kong marami talagang gumagamit nito at tumatangkad talaga sila. Kaya sinubukan ko. Pagdating ng 6 na buwan, napansin ko nagsisimula na akong tumangkad. Kahit na paunti-unti, pero alam kong tumatangkad ako. Kaya pinagpatuloy ko ang pag-inom ng Gloxy Health Drink. Nung pag-graduate ko ng college, yung ground crew height ko ay naging stewardess ground height na. Mula 150 centimeters, naging 168 centimeters. Tumangkad ako ng 18 centimeters, di ba? Napakagaling. Pero syempre, nagtapos ako at naging stewardess. At yung pangarap ko, natupad din. Pero patuloy ko pa din akong gumagamit ng Gloxy Health Drink. At palagi kong nare-rekomenda sa mga kaibigan kung gusto ring tumangkad gaya ko. Dahil alam ko yung feeling na yon. Kaya kung gusto mong tumangkad, uminom ka ng Gloxy Health Drink at makikita mong kaya mo ring tumangkad gaya ko.
Tama yun! Ang iyong interpersonal relationships ay magbabago. Gusto mo bang tumangkad? Gloxy ang may pinaka-epektibong formula pampatangkad. Ito ay may FDA, HACCP at may ISO certification. Meron itong millions na height improvement success stories. Nagpo-promote din ito ng HGH secretion ng 44 times. Ang wheat oligopeptide GP ay kaya mag-secrete ng HGH up to 5 times. At bibilis din ang speed growth. Depende sa nature ng human body ay nag-i-increase sa height ng 3 to 10 centimeters nang walang side effect. Pwede ito sa lalaki at babae at kahit anong edad pa. Kung napansin mo na ang parents mo ay maliit, gumamit ka na agad ng Gloxy para madagdagan ang iyong height. Also, dahil sa different growth at mabilis na pag-develop ng mga buto at muscles, may mararamdaman na konting sakit sa mga kasukasuan or growth soreness habang gumagamit. Dahil dyan, meron kaming free na Gloxy Soothing Gel na i-apply mo sa iyong hita at binti bago matulog. Naglalaman ito ng iba't ibang plant extracts para mapakalma ang mga nananakit na mga muscles. Para sa inyong kasiguraduhan, i-confirm ang bagong packaging ng Gloxy habang bumibili kayo. Tawag na at i-grab ang opportunity para tumangkad ka. Bumili na!
Mahalagang paalala,
Ang Gloxy ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus on today's headlines.
Talagang suspense.
Philippine Ambassador to Poland, Leia Masina Ruiz, said Filipino women in Ukraine married to locals are undecided if they will leave the strife-torn European nation or not.
Talaga kami.
In the related news, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky seeks a global ban on Russian planes and ships using foreign airports or seaports as punishment for Moscow's attack on his country. Rivals Singapore and Hong Kong are writing a tale of two very different cities with their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Website,
And here's what they call the fitness of the future. It uses electricity and it's a lot more intense than your average workout.
and faster result.
Philippine Ambassador to Poland, Leia Masina Ruiz, said Filipino women in Ukraine married to locals are undecided if they will leave the strife-torn European nation or not. Ukrainian men aged 18 to 60 have been restricted to leave as they must join the army to help defend their country against Russian forces. During an OFW or Overseas Filipino Worker Town Hall meeting initiated by the Department of Foreign Affairs and aired online on Monday, Ruiz said they are exhausting all efforts to assist remaining Filipinos in Ukraine. Let's listen in.
Talagang suspenseful talaga itong repatriation ng ating mga tao kasi in the first place, yung naghanap po kami ng bus mula sa Kiev to Lviv, medyo nahirapan ho talaga kami. So ang ano po ang solusyon po or ang nakikita namin na possibility, which is also being taken by a lot of other peoples, especially the Ukrainians themselves, yun po yung train. Tumatakbo pa yung train from Kiev to Lviv. Yun nga lang, syempre nagsisiksikan ho lahat. Anxious people who are waiting na kami talaga mas mabilis yung aming pag-travel, pag-usad, and yet yung may mga tao na nakakaawa talaga sa yung nag-aantay. But on the other hand, yung mga Ukrainian spouses, we were able to issue visas. I-divide natin sila, no? Ukrainian spouses na lalaki at saka Ukrainian spouses na babae. Yung Ukrainian spouses na babae, talagang walang problema, nabibigyan namin sila ng visa. Yung Ukrainian spouses na lalaki, nung hindi pa sila nag-restrict, nung hindi pa pinrevent yung mga lalaki na umalis, talagang nabibigyan natin sila ng visa. In fact, meron talaga tayong na fast track. So, on their own, they were able to leave the country. No? Hindi na namin sila sinama dun sa bilangan namin sa pagriripat. But since nagkaroon ng order to prevent or to ensure that males are left behind, I think from 18 years old yata to 60 years old. So, nagkaroon talaga ng dilema yung mga families. Ano ba, aalis ba sila na hindi kasama yung mga husbands nila? Or, either nasasama sila sa repatriation or they will stay. So may mga families talaga na because their husbands are not able to, despite our assurance na because of the humanitarian and the emergency situation, we will issue the visa. In fact, may na-issuean kami na visa ng mga babae. So yung may mga lalaki na spouses, the dilemma is, alis ba sila or will stay with the husband. So, syempre, they had to make that very, very difficult and really heart-wrenching decision. We can only just sympathize with them. Some of them really decide to stay, and some of them, yung ano na lang, yung ating Filipina and the kid. So, yun ang decision. So, we're able to include them in the repatriation. But those Filipinos, yung ating mga Filipina spouses, we ask them to still, keep in touch with the embassy so that we know how they are, at least kung paano namin sila matulungan eventually, kung talagang magkakaroon na sila ng decision to really just leave the country without their husbands.
In a related news, the Department of Foreign Affairs said the repatriated Filipinos from Ukraine will be given at least $200 as financial assistance as well as psychosocial counseling in case they were traumatized by the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And currently, 13 Filipinos have crossed the border, the Polish border. Again, let's listen in.
13 po yung mga nakatawid, 12 adults and 1 baby. They're now in Warsaw. Nasa isang hotel po sila doon, hinuhost po sila ng ating embahada. At they just took their RT-PCR tests, and kapag nag-negative po sila, makakalipad na po sila tonight or the latest tomorrow po. At sasalubungin po namin sila sa airport. Yung iba naman po nating mga kababayan, we're happy to announce na yung 6 na nakapasok na sa Moldova. Kasama po dyan isang medical student at 2 mga Pilipina na married to Ukrainians. Yung isa po, dala pa niya yung kanyang anak na baby rin po. No? Tapos yung iba po doon, nag-work naman sila sa mga international organizations. So, and then we have at least 10 people who are in Lviv now. We're still waiting for others for repatriation. We're still waiting for others to join them. Tapos itatawid na ulit na namin po sila sa border ng Poland. We made sure na before we already gave all the adults at least $200 financial assistance para meron naman silang pagsisimulan. Tapos syempre, kailangan din psychosocial counseling kasi hindi pa natin alam kung na-warshock ba sila o kung ano man yung pinagdaanan ng ating mga kababayan. We discovered that there are 33 people na nandun sila ngayon sa Lviv, pero ayaw nila talaga. Meron po rin pong maraming Pilipino na lumilikas sila papuntang Lviv pero hindi sila ayaw nila magpa-repatriate. They just want to wait it out and wait and see. So what we're trying to do is to be in constant contact with the Filipinos who choose to stay. Yung mga Pilipino po, yung iba kasi married to Ukrainian. So ayaw rin nilang mahiwalay sa kanilang mga pamilya. Yung iba naman po, mga household service workers na ayaw rin iwanan yung kanilang mga employers. Yung iba, mga teachers. Tapos may mga kababayan din tayo na feeling nila, gusto nila lang talagang i-wait out. Maghintay lang talaga matapos yung kaguluhan at ayaw mo nilang umuwi kasi they like their quality of life there, they like it in Ukraine, and they think na matatapos din to. So,
just to reiterate what Mrs. Ariola said, there are some Filipinos who do not wish to be repatriated, choosing instead to wait it out. The Philippine government will be reaching out to them and giving them necessary assistance and care packages. Meanwhile, should some refugees choose to flee to the Philippines, Ariola said the Philippines has always had an open door policy. Look at these images. A huge Russian military convoy stretching some 40 miles was spotted Monday by a U.S. satellite imaging company just north of the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, which has already repulsed several assaults. Take a look. Now, these are satellite photos provided by Maxar, a U.S. company, showing that the convoy, which had been massing since Sunday, had mushroomed to more than 40 miles of military vehicles. It said the column covered the entire stretch of road from near Antonov Airport, some 18 miles from the capital, to the town of Pribyrsk, a distance of approximately 40 miles. Maxer said that, quote, along parts of the route, some vehicles are spaced fairly far apart, while in other sections, military equipment and units are traveling 2 or 3 vehicles abreast on the road. A number of homes and buildings are seen burning north and northwest of Ivankiv, near the roads where the convoy is traveling, it added. Maxer said its satellites had also captured images of additional ground forces, deployments, and ground attack helicopter units in southern Belarus, less than 20 miles north of the border with Ukraine. Since the start of the Russian offensive on Thursday, Ukrainian forces have defended the roads leading into central Kiev against assaults by Russian forces that are massing around the capital. According to 2 sources interviewed by AFP on Monday, one diplomatic and the other a security official, Moscow is preparing to launch a new military push imminently. The Ukrainian Army General Staff official page on Facebook said that Russian forces were massing over the past 24 hours and accumulating armored vehicles and artillery weapons, primarily to encircle and take control of Kiev and other major cities of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin's order to mobilize his nuclear forces is dangerous and adds to the risk of miscalculation. Here's Ned Price, U.S. State Department spokesperson. Take a look.
Clearly, this is provocative rhetoric. We share the opinion with our partners and allies around the world that this sort of provocative rhetoric, more than being unnecessary, it is dangerous. It adds to the risk of miscalculation. It should be avoided. We are assessing President Putin's directive at this time. As I think you have heard us say, we see no reason to change our own alert levels.
The Russians in New York are saying that you have expelled or asked 12 UN diplomats, Russian diplomats, to leave the United States. Are you saying you can't comment on that? You don't know about it?
I don't have those details in front of me. This apparently just came out since the time I've been up here.
But can you react to it? Is it accurate? Have you asked 12 Russians to leave?
I'm not going to react to something that has just come out while as I've been up here.
That's the U.S. sanctions.
We will do more, assuming the Russian Federation continues to escalate, and we have seen no indication at this point that the Russian Federation is prepared to do otherwise. You're right that beyond additional targets, what we are launching and what you heard about recently is the task force that together with our allies and partners, we are going to identify, we are going to hunt down and freeze the assets of Russian companies and oligarchs. We are going to hunt down their yachts. We are going to hunt down their mansions, any other ill-gotten gains that we can find and freeze under the law. Clearly, our relationship with Russia and the world's relationship with Russia is different today than it was last week or than it was before this unprovoked crisis began late last year. But we still believe in diplomacy. We know that diplomacy is the only responsible, sustainable means by which to end this conflict.
United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi briefs the UN Security Council on the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine during an emergency meeting, saying over 500,000 Ukrainians have now fled neighboring countries. Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Martin Griffiths calls for the protection of aid workers, while Ukraine accuses Russia of attacking hospitals, mobile aid brigades, and ambulances, and spreading lies about the conflict. Take a look.
There are 520,000 refugees from Ukraine in neighboring countries. This figure has been rising exponentially, hour after hour, literally, since Thursday. I have worked in refugee crises for almost 40 years, and I have rarely seen such an incredibly fast rising exodus of people. The largest, surely, within Europe since the Balkan Wars.
First, we need the assurances from parties to the conflict that humanitarian workers and movements will be protected even during the most severe days of the conflict and not waiting for the conflict to subside. Even now, even today, even yesterday, we need to provide those protections to those workers to do the job that they want to do.
Нам постоянно говорят о необходимости дипломатии, дипломатических решений и одновременно ограничивают наши возможности для осуществления такой деятельности. Мы глубоко сожалеем о принятом решении и будем смотреть, как будут дальше развиваться события. И сегодня на этом заседании Совета Безопасности мы вновь слышали о бомбардировках жилых кварталов, больниц, школ и детских садов. Зато достоверно известно, что украинские националисты размещают ударные вооружения в жилых кварталах, что составляет прямое нарушение международного гуманитарного права. Мы бы просили...
Russia is attacking hospitals, mobile aid brigades, and ambulances. This is not the action of a state with a legitimate security concern. This is the action of a state determined to kill civilians. There is no debate. These are war crimes. You have all heard the lies from the Russian side, lies in Moscow, lies in the General Assembly, and lies in the Security Council. Distinguished members of the Security Council and friends around the world, do not listen to Russian lies. Listen to Ukraine's cries.
The Security Council held a separate emergency meeting Monday on the humanitarian situation in Ukraine. UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi warned that the fighting was expected to displace 4 million people. Regarding the expelled diplomats, Nebenzia said the 12 had been told to leave the United States by March 7. A U.S. spokeswoman said the move had been in development for several months, implying it was not directly related to the war. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky seeks a global ban on Russian planes and ships using foreign airports or seaports as punishment for Moscow's attack on his country. Take a look.
Такій державі треба закрити вхід до усіх портів, каналів, аеропортів світу. Така держава не має отримувати сотні мільярдів за експорт енергоресурсів. Купувати російські товари зараз – це платити гроші за вбивство людей.
Zelensky also accused Russia of bombarding and firing on Ukrainian territory Monday to put pressure on Kiev during talks aimed at a ceasefire. As for pressure campaign against Ukraine's leaders, don't waste your time, Zelensky told the Russians in a video message shortly before Monday's talks broke up. Agreeing merely to hold a second round of negotiations soon, Russian leader Vladimir Putin laid out his prerequisites for ending the war in a phone call with French President Emmanuel Macron. President Putin said a settlement is only possible if Russia's legitimate security interests are unconditionally taken into account, including the recognition of Russian sovereignty over Crimea, the demilitarization and denazification of the Ukrainian state, and ensuring its neutral status, according to the Kremlin. In Vietnam, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh has signed a public telegram ordering relevant ministries and agencies to ensure the highest safety and security for lives, property, as well as legitimate interests of Vietnamese citizens and entities in Ukraine. Around 7,000 Vietnamese people are living in Ukraine, mainly in Kharkiv, Odessa, and Kiev. Pham ordered the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to draw a plan to protect security and safety of and evacuate Vietnamese citizens and members of diplomatic missions if necessary and provide them with food and other necessities. The ministry was tasked to direct Vietnamese diplomatic missions in Ukraine and neighboring countries to provide support to Vietnamese citizens and promptly evacuate those who are in dangerous areas. The ministry was also asked to prepare a plan to bring home Vietnamese citizens at their request. Citizens who need support can contact the hotline of the Vietnamese embassy in Ukraine. The Prime Minister tasked the Ministry of Transport to direct Vietnamese airlines to prepare plans to bring Vietnamese citizens home. In other news, a prominent Thai human rights lawyer and pro-democracy protest leader has been freed after more than 200 days in custody, with a Bangkok court granting bail Monday. Let's listen in. Youth-led rallies in 2020 demanding Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's resignation and reforms to Thailand's monarchy drew tens of thousands of people at their peak. But the movement lost steam last year as authorities detained several leaders and coronavirus infections surged. Nearly 160 activists, including 13 juveniles, have been hit with criminal charges under Thailand's harsh royal defamation laws, which carry a jail sentence of up to 15 years per charge. Rights lawyer Anom Nunpa, 37, who is facing 14 lay majestes charges, was freed on Monday night after a Bangkok court granted bail. A crowd of well-wishers were on hand to greet him as he walked out of Bangkok remand prison wearing a white shirt, black slacks, and his trademark spectacles. He said he would respect the country's bail conditions but did not rule out delivering speeches at future rallies. Last week, fellow protest leader and university student Parit Chiwarak, better known by his nickname Penguin, who is facing 23 lay majesty charges, was also freed on bail. He had been in detention for almost 200 days. And the news continues. Zero on ASEAN in Focus. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Welcome back. Wearing of well-fitted face masks at all times, full sitting capacity for public transport, and not requiring the use of health declaration forms for contact tracing. Now, these are just some of the amended protocols by the Interagency Task Force released by Malacanang as Metro Manila and 38 more areas in the country shift to the least restrictive Alert Level 1 from March 1 to the 15th. Let's take a listen.
paalala sa lahat, ipagpatuloy pa rin po natin ang pagsusuot ng face masks sa loob at labas ng mga pampublikong lugar at masisikip na kinaroroonan kahit nasa alert level 1. Maliban na lamang kung kumakain o umiinom, naglalaro ng sports sa lugar na may sapat na ventilasyon tulad ng high ceiling courts at nag-eehersisyo sa labas where physical distancing can be maintained. Luluwag po ang mga patakaran sa mga lugar na nasa ilalim ng Alert Level 1. Ang lahat ng opisina, pribado man o gobyerno ay maaari nang mag-operate ng 100% capacity. Para magkaroon ng malusog at ligtas na workplaces, kailangang aktibo ang ating safety and health officer. May contingency plan kayo? May good air exchange na naayon sa DOLE guideline, sumusunod sa hand hygiene at may maayos na sanitation facilities, sapat ang visual cues at signages, may mekanismo para sa agarang care at referral systems, may nakatalagang structures para sa active transport, smoke-free po at vape-free na mga pinagtatrabaho ang lugar, nakahandang tumugon sa mental health at psychosocial care concerns at mayroong health and safety education materials. Sa mga lugar ng trabahong nasa ilalim ng Alert Level 1 pa rin, hindi na po nirerekomenda ang pagkakaroon ng foot baths, disinfection tent, misting chambers, or sanitation booths, pati temperature checking bago makapasok at pagsulat sa health declaration form. Dahil sa ating pakikipagtulungan, maaari na nating luwagan ang mga nakasanayang mahigpit na patakaran. Samantala, optional naman ang paglalagay ng plastic barriers, paggamit ng digital apps tulad ng Stay Safe, pagpapatupad ng alternative work arrangements at pagpaskil ng safety seal. Dahil 100% ang work capacity, ang mga pampublikong sasakyan ay papayagan na ring mag-operate ng 100% capacity kung ang biyahe ay sa mga lugar na nasa Alert Level 1 lamang. Tanong, paano kung magkaiba ng alert level ang dalawang lugar? For public land transportation, ang susunding kapasidad ay yung mas limitado ang pinapayagang sakay na pasahero. Halimbawa, kung ang bus ay galing sa isang lugar na Alert Level 2 at papunta sa lugar na nasa Alert Level 1 or vice versa, ang mas mahigpit na patakaran ng Alert Level 2 ang susundin. Again, this is for public land transportation po. Samantala, para naman sa aviation, maritime at rail public transport, operating in and out of Alert Level 1 areas, the passenger capacity will be at 100%. Kaugnay pa rin sa pampublikong transportasyon sa Alert Level 1, yung no vaccination, no ride policy will not be implemented sa Alert Level 1 areas. Hindi na rin required ang S-Pass o yung Safe, Swift, and Smart Passage para sa interzonal travel. Samantala, on mass gatherings and on access to indoor establishments, ito po ang patakaran. Kahit nasa Alert Level 1, ay patuloy na kailangan magpakita ng pruweba ng full vaccination bago payagang sumali sa mga mass gatherings o pumasok sa mga indoor establishments ang sinumang nasa edad 18 pataas. Naka-flash po sa inyong screen ang mga establishmentong aking tinutukoy. Isa-isahin po natin. In-person religious gatherings, gatherings for necrological services, wakes, interments, and funerals for those who died of causes other than COVID-19 and for the cremains of the COVID-19 deceased. Lahat ng indoor dine-in services of food preparation establishments katulad ng kiosks, commissaries, restaurants, eateries. Para naman sa outdoor, or alfresco dining at take-out channels, hindi na kailangan ng proof of full vaccination. Lahat ng indoor care or personal care establishments gaya ng barbershops, hair spas, hair salons, nail spas, aesthetic, cosmetic services or procedures, makeup services, salons, spas, reflexology, and other similar procedures, including home service options. Yung fitness studios, gyms, at mga venues para sa exercise at sports, ayan po, kailangan pa rin ng proof of full vaccination kapag 18 pataas. Lahat ng indoor cinemas or movie houses operating at full capacity. Yung meetings, incentives, conferences, exhibition events, and permitted venues for social events katulad ng parties, wedding receptions, engagement parties, wedding anniversaries, debut and birthday parties, family reunions, and bridal or baby showers. Venues with live voice or wind instrument performers and audiences katulad ng karaoke bars, clubs, concert halls, and theaters. Indoor ancillary establishments sa mga hotel at iba pang accommodation establishments. And venues for election-related events.
The COVID-19 pandemic is not yet over and the country has not yet reached the endemic state of the virus, that according to a DOH official. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire made this comment a day after the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases placed Metro Manila and 38 other areas under the lowest alert level 1 status from March 1st to the 15th. Again, let's listen in.
Unang-una po, yun pong ating alert level system, kahit po tayo ay nag-de-escalate na to alert level 1, is still in effect. So ibig sabihin po, kung sakasakaling dadating tayo sa punto na tayo po ay magkakaroon uli ng pagtaas ng kaso, kapag nakita po natin na yung utilization po ng ating mga ospital ay napupuno, yan po ay magiging senyales po para sa atin na tayo po uli ay mag-elevate or mag-escalate sa higher alert level. Ang magiging kaibahan na lang po sa previous alert levels natin would be that ito pong ating tinitignan ngayon na pagpaplano for NAP5 sa transition plan natin, tinitignan natin na kung magtutuloy-tuloy po na milder form ang nagiging sakit dito po sa ating bansa at sa buong mundo, atin na pong isi-shift ang ating pagpo-focus from the numbers to the utilization ng ating mga facilities specifically for severe and critical cases. Hindi pa ho tapos ang pandemya. Hindi pa rin po tayo dumarating dun sa sinasabi nating endemic state. Na andito po ngayon tayo sa level ng ating sitwasyon kung saan we are transitioning dito po sa gusto nating marating na new normal. Ang endemic state din hindi nangangahulugan na ang virus ay naging mas mild o ang virus ay nawala. Ang ibig sabihin po ng endemic state, ang virus ay naandyan na, kasama na po natin dito sa ating buhay. Ngunit acceptable na po ang mga numero ng ating mga kaso, acceptable na rin po para sa ating society o para sa ating mga Pilipino na ito pong pagtaas ng kaso o kaya ay pagkakaroon po ng mga pagkakamatay dahil sa COVID-19 ay acceptable na po sa atin.
The reported COVID cases continue to go down in the National Capital Region, but the decline has slightly slowed down. And that is according to the Octa research on Monday. In the Laging Handa briefing, Octa fellow Guido David said the case decline slowdown may be related to the election season wherein more gatherings are taking place.
Meron mga countries na nakita natin yung kung ano nangyayari during the election season. For example, Chile is one of them. Nakita natin, syempre, medyo affected yung numbers nila. Pero hindi naman nag-resurgence. Pero parang nag-plateau sila. So this could be what's happening in NCR, for example. Baka nagpa-plateau na siya at around 300 cases per day. Hindi pa yan guaranteed kasi pwedeng bumaba pa yung number of cases. I mean, it's just a possibility. And kung mag-plateau rin naman siya at around 1,000 cases per day nationally and mga 300 per day sa NCR, actually it's okay. This is manageable. Nakikita naman natin mababa na rin yung cases dito sa mga other regions na nilagay sa alert level 1. So hopefully, yun nga, pag mataas yung vaccine coverage nila, ay mamimitigate yung mga possible infections or possible infections of the unvaccinated, kasi mostly unvaccinated, syempre yung mga mataas yung hospitalization rate.
Meanwhile, rival Singapore and Hong Kong are writing a tale of two very different cities with their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the former opting to live with the coronavirus and reopen to the world, while the latter doubles down on zero COVID and its international isolation. Let's take a look. The launch of the Joint Project Program Development and Policy Advising on Multidimensional and Sustainable Poverty Reduction 2021 to 2023 and the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the UNDP and National Coordination Office for Poverty Reduction under the Ministry of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs, or MOLISA, took place in Hanoi on February 28. At the signing ceremony, Deputy Minister of MOLISA, Levan Tan, highly appreciated cooperation in the field of poverty reduction of UNDP, the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, or DFAT, and the National Office on Poverty Reduction. The MOLISA looks forward to strengthening bilateral and multilateral cooperation with international partners to successfully implement the objective of reducing multidimensional poverty in an inclusive and sustainable manner toward reducing poverty in all dimensions for all people, noted Lei. The program has many more innovative core points in relation to the 2016 to 2020 period. The new program applies a strategy to focus investment in people with direct investment in developing capacity for the poor. From fleeing a typhoon to relocating in anticipation of sea level rise, climate migration covers a myriad of situations and raises a host of questions. But one thing is sure, the number of those seeking a safe place to call home is going to increase in the coming decades, according to a recently published major UN report on climate impacts and vulnerability. Let's listen in.
weligeeba dad abaar halkan keentay xooluhun ka madheen baan nahay dad iyaga iska lugaynaya de maahay qofna meeshiisa asaasiisa noloshiisa miyuu kaba tegi kara.
This is 35-year-old Europe Abdi Jama. Until recently, she was a herder in Somalia's rural north. But the devastating drought hitting the Horn of Africa left her with no choice but to flee. She now lives here in this shanty in the outskirts of the city of Hargeisa, hundreds of kilometers from her home. Jama, a mother of 8, is a climate migrant, and she is not alone. Like her, tens of thousands of farmers and herders in the region are abandoning rural areas as lands turn barren, animals die, and livelihoods disappear. The World Food Programme estimates 13 million people in the region are facing severe hunger after 3 consecutive failed rainy seasons. And although the exact effects of climate change on this particular drought are unclear, extreme events like it will only become more common as weather patterns become increasingly erratic due to global warming. Floods, storms, wildfires, droughts, extreme heat, and rising sea levels are already pushing people from their homes in droves. Experts say no region will be spared. In 2020, 30 million new internal displacements were caused by climate disasters. That's 3 times the number of those caused by violence and conflict in the same period.
Tengo 2 niños que no tienen casa donde dormir. No tenemos nada.
If emissions are not cut, the World Bank estimates some 216 million people would be at risk of climate-related internal displacement by 2050.
Typically, migration is extremely costly. And what we observe in every country of the world, in the global north and in the global south, for any kind of impact of climate change, is that the most vulnerable population, the poorest, the oldest, the least educated, the least informed, the least connected, those populations are always unable to escape, unable to flee, unable to relocate.
A newly published report by the UN's top climate scientists has underlined how climate change is widening the gap between the richest and the poorest, while places that contributed least to global warming pay the highest price. For people living in disaster-prone areas, the future has never looked more unsure. Over 2 decades ago, Florivic Valdoza's family sold their home in the island of Luzon in the Philippines and moved to higher ground. They made it through many storms, but then in 2020, a massive typhoon hit the area, completely destroying her home. And in this area, there is no certainty it won't happen again.
Sa tingin ko, sir, kung para sa akin, sa sarili ko, sir, wala na. Wala nang, kumbaga parang wala nang safe. Kung para sa akin, wala na, sir. Kasi lahat ng pupuntahan naming lugar, may napapalibutan ng tubig. Isa pa, yung lilipatan naming lugar din doon. Kumbaga, pag malakas din daw ang bagyo, tinutubig. Tapos, siyempre, yung mga puno. Pag iniisip ko lang, sir, yung kapakanan ng mga anak ko.
Although advanced planning will help mitigate some of the impacts of disasters, in some places, no manner of adaptation will be enough. with the only alternative to permanently leave behind these hazardous areas. As sea level rise and subsidence threaten Jakarta, Indonesia has already taken the radical decision to move the capital from the island of Java to the island of Borneo, one of the first examples of mass-managed retreat in the world. While some nations try to prepare for this massive movement of people, there is concern Western countries are asleep at the wheel.
Sometimes we are still under the impression that we will not be concerned by migration flows and that infrastructure will be enough. We need to realize, and I think that the flash floods of the summer 2021 in Germany or in Belgium should be a warning signal for that sometimes infrastructure will not be enough and that we will need to rethink collectively the places where people live and the place where we allow people to live.
And that is a crucial question. Which are the places around the world that will remain safe, and which ones will become uninhabitable? A 2020 study found that unless greenhouse gas emissions are drastically cut, by 2070, 3 billion people could be living in places as hot as the Sahara. While some nations face the prospect of scorching temperatures forcing millions to either migrate or adapt, rising seas could see other countries disappear altogether.
We are drowning, and our only hope is the life ring you are holding. Frankly speaking, there is no dignity to a slow and painful death. You might as well bomb our islands instead of making us suffer only to witness our slow and fateful demise.
And if countries disappear, what will become of their citizens? Will they and others fleeing the effects of climate change be recognized as refugees? Experts say that won't happen. But even if climate migrants have no legal status nationally or internationally, the reality is that they already exist. And the UN warns that one thing is certain: more and more people will be leaving their homes behind, willingly or unwillingly, temporarily or permanently, as the impacts of climate change accelerate.
And here's what they call the fitness of the future. It uses electricity and it's a lot more intense than your average workout. Here's Crystal Mapa trying out the EMS at a gym in Bangkok. Crystal.
How's your fitness journey going on so far? I am here in Bangkok, Thailand to try a new workout. Let's go and check it out.
This fitness center in Bangkok is offering EMS technology to lose body fat and muscle building in just 25 minutes of workout. EMS stands for Electric Muscle Stimulation and is a total body workout that uses impulse currents. According to the fitness center website, the EMS full body workout activates 90% of muscles at the same time during each contraction, therefore speeds up stronger and faster result. It also mentioned that EMS workout is 15 times more efficient than training in a conventional gym. The workout is customizable depending on customer's objective. It is advisable for people who are busy as the duration of a complete workout is only 25 minutes. And this is also for people who want to achieve muscle building and rehab exercises for injury and back pain. In the first session, it started with a briefing about EMS and filling out a health form for the instructor to know the customer's fitness goals. Next is to gear up. A special conductive undersuit is provided that the trainer will fit in the electrode vest. I am now ready for the workout. Honestly, I'm a little bit nervous, but I gave it a try anyway. The trainer led me through a series of exercises which were designed to stimulate different muscle groups. It looks easy, but electrical pulses made it challenging, even in a short period of time. And in 25 minutes, we're done. A post-workout using the EMS machine is done to cool down the muscles. So, how's your fitness journey going on right now? Indeed, there are countless ways to achieve whatever health goals we may have promised to achieve this year. Let's all stay active and healthy for our life goals, friends, and family. Reporting from Bangkok, Thailand, I am Crystal Mapa, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Crystal. I will try that out. And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same place, here on ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angela saying the news because we live in interesting times.